So in this lesson, we are going to be talking about subtracting integers, and sometimes this causes a little bit more confusion than I would like it to for students. So follow along as closely as you can. Please feel free to watch other videos if you feel like those would be helpful as well. So we know when you subtract a positive integer, so this is the negative or the subtraction sign in the middle, but this is, we're taking positive 3 minus a positive 5. We are simply moving left. So if we start at a 3, we move left 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right there, we end up at the negative 2. For some reason, kids really do get this. Especially Minnesota kids, who if we're at 5 degrees and then, or 3 degrees and the temperature drops 5 degrees, we know that we're 2 degrees below zero. So we have kind of an advantage, one of our only advantages living in these cold states. This is the part that causes kids a fair amount of trouble. When you subtract a negative integer, you actually move right, okay? So if you do 2 minus a negative 4, you actually end up at a 6. I'm going to try to show you that in a couple of different ways. So we're going to talk first of all about what I always do. This is ingrained in me since I took math. And whenever you see a minus sign or a subtraction sign, you always make it into an addition sign. So 3 minus 5 is going to become, you have to add the opposite. So it becomes the same as saying 3, which is still negative 2. So in this case, 2 minus a negative 4, it's the same as adding the opposite, which is 2 plus 4, which is a lot easier to solve, which is a 6. When we look at this kind of a number and this kind of an operation, it's a lot like what we were saying when we the number you're dividing by, turn upside down and multiply. When you flip something around, you have to do the opposite to both things. You have to oppositify both of these signs and both of these signs, because this is technically a positive 5. We made it into a negative. So in these instances, 4 minus 7 becomes 4 plus a negative 7. Which is negative 3. 3 minus 1 obviously is going to be 2. It's the same as 3 plus negative 1. Doesn't matter how you write it, that's still 2. 4 minus 7 is the same as 4 minus a negative 7 is the same as saying 4 plus a positive 7, which is 11. 3 minus 1 3 minus a negative 1, is the same as saying 3 plus a positive 1, which is a 4. What I want to show you is, I'm going to show you a model of 6 minus a negative 2. I'm going to do this, negative 6. Minus a negative 2. And I'm going to use those chips I used in the last lesson. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I have a negative 6. And now I'm going to take a negative 2 away. And look what I come up with. I come up with a negative 4. Do you see how that worked? And it actually became, went to the right or towards the positive side. That chip technique has helped a lot of students. If you'd like me to work with you using that, I am super happy to do that. So try these two examples, and what I would like you to do is do the technique where you add the opposite. Don't do anything to the outside sign, it's just the sign right here in the middle. Okay, so go ahead and pause me, do the add the opposite technique to both of these, then solve the question. Okay, so for the first one, 2 minus a negative 9, I am going to add the opposite. I have a negative 2 plus 9, and I know the signs are different, so I need to find the difference. So I know it's a 7, and the positive 9 wins out. So I know that I'm at a positive 7. For this one, I have negative 5, and I'm going to do add the opposite. I'm going to add a negative 7. Signs are the same. So I know it's a negative 12. I'm going to pause the video and see if I can get better focus here. So I am having a little bit of a focus issue. Hopefully you can, I've fixed it enough so that you can sort of see. But the base of Mauna Loa in Hawaii is 13,000 meters below sea level, and its summit is 4,170 feet above sea level. So I want you to find the difference between those two. So I am going to start with the top minus the bottom. So I'm taking 4,170 feet above, and I'm going to subtract it from the 13,000 below sea level that we see here. But if we add the opposite, we have 4,170 plus the 13,000, and hopefully you can see that this is 17,170 meters is its difference. I would like you to give these 11 a try. I am going to zero it in so you can see all of them. And pause the video, try a few, and then I am going to reveal about 3 at a time. All right, so numbers 1 through 3, you'll notice that I put the add the opposite technique. I employed them with all 3 of those to get those answers. Why don't you try the next 6 and then do the add the opposite technique, and then I will push reveal again. So I employed the add the opposite. You can see those in red. 4, negative 11, 12, 7, and negative 13. Let's go through these next 2 together. I want you to remember 3 minus a negative 1 is the same as saying 3 plus a positive 1, or negative 3 plus a positive 1, which moves you on that number line 1 space to the right, which will bring you to a negative 2. So let's mirror this one like we did up at the top. We're going to find the difference between the summit and the base. So it will be 1,496, and we're going to subtract that from a negative 3,000. Okay, let's add that opposite. And we should get, you can almost do this one in your head, hopefully, 4,496 meters. So I know the double negative might cause you some issues. There's a really great example of how to use the chips on pages 584 through 585. This is important that you understand this concept. You will use it a lot throughout your life. It shows up in algebra, it shows up in trigonometry, calculus, and beyond. So if you don't understand something about this, please come see me for help.